Well, glad to see you back in my shop again. I'm Earl. This is Earl's Small Segment Shop. After my last turning, the big flower turning, it's a little bit involved and took a little while, especially I wasn't getting much time in the shop. So, what I'm going to do now is make a simple turning. A man I've known for quite a while, for a long time, in fact, long time, did me a favor recently, and his wife remarked how much she liked my turning, so morally, I'm going to return the favor. Not that I really have to, but like I said, I feel obliged to. So I'm going to make a small turning for his wife. What I'm going to do is make one of my signature turnings. Small, large segment, small segment, large segment, small segment, two contrasting woods. So the hardest part's deciding on the woods to use. Well, I want this one to be nice. And you just can't go wrong with purple heart and yellow heart. So I got the thin yellow heart ready. Got plenty much of it. Got enough of it. And got some purple heart ready for the thicker segment. And I'm going to put it on a solid base. 6-inch solid base. So I got a piece of purple heart cut 6-inch base, 6-inch square. Like I always do, I'm going to put it in the coal jaws. I'm going to turn a mortise in it for this chuck right here. Then I'm going to turn a groove right around the very edge to guide the bandsaw. So after I put a mortise in it, put a groove in it, and cut it on the bandsaw, then I'm going to mount it on the chuck and prepare it for the first row of segments. So the first thing I'm going to do, mount this up, put a mortise in it, put a groove for the bandsaw to follow. I've got the bottom blank turned round or cut round on the bandsaw. I cut a groove in it, just followed the groove around. Put a mortise in the bottom and mounted it on the chuck. Now you may ask me why I use a mortise. Well, I always use the harder woods for the base of my turnings that I use a solid base. I never use a softer wood. And a harder wood, using a tenon is fine, or a mortise is fine. If the wood's too soft, you have a chance of splitting it, yeah. And I never make the mortise more than about 1/3 the diameter. So it's plenty of wood between it and the edge, so it don't split. Like I said, it's hardwood. And when I finish it, sure makes finishing the bottom a lot easier. But, again, people like tenons. You know, if you like a tenon, use a tenon. That's fine. It'll work. So I got it mounted on the chuck now. I'm going to finish turning it around the edge. And then I'm going to dish out the center. Leave about 1 inch all around the edge so I can flatten it to glue the first row of segments on. I got the edge turned round. I got a little bit of an angle on it. Of course, I'll need more later. Started dishing it out. Left a good flat area around the edge. Glue the first segment on. But I've got to make sure that this is perfectly flat. So I got my chalk. I'm going to chalk it. That's plenty good. Take my sanding board, sand it till the chalk's gone. When the chalk's gone, it's flat. Should be pretty close. It's flat now, ready to take the first ring of segments. I've got my Purple Heart base ready. And for this one, I decided I'm going to use 20 segments per ring. Now, I could use 16, I could use 25, I could use any number for this type turning. 16 works good, but I think 20 will look a little bit better. And I want this one to look good. Use 20 segments per ring means I got to have 40 evenly spaced indexes. So I'm going to use a 120 ring. Now last time I used a 120 ring, I used it for 30 indexes. So I'm going to have to remove all those marks I got on it, which is a very simple thing to do. A little bit of alcohol on the paper towel. And they come right off. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe these off. I've got all the old marks off the 120 index ring. So now I need 40 evenly spaced indexes. I'm going to mark them this time with orange and black. So I need 40. The ring is 120. So that means I have to use every third one. So what I'm going to do is mark one of them black. Skip two and mark one orange. Wait a minute, let's get the right ring. Doggone it. Mark one black. Skip two and mark one orange. Then skip two and mark one black. And skip two and mark one orange. And I'm going to go all the way around so I get 20 orange and 20 black marks. Got my index wheel marked. Going to be using the commercial gluing platform. Now the base actually measures right now 5 7/8. So going by this pattern, I'm going to make a first ring, of course, is going to be the thin yellow heart ring. I'm going to make it 6 1/4 inch. In 20 segments, I'm going to have a cut angle for open segment. It's 6.3 degrees. 6 1/4 inch, I'm going to have to cut them at 0.692. 6929, 693, close enough. So I'm going to set this up for 0.693. Set my fence up. I already got it set up. I got marks for all the angles. And then I'll set up the cut length. And I'm going to cut 20 yellow segments for it. I've got this set on a red index. I'm going to start with the red ones. Got my stop block set for 3 1/8 inch. That's from the center, of course. That'll give me 6 1/4. Got my small yellow segments ready to glue on. Now it only takes 5 seconds to glue on the segment. That is after you get the glue on the segment. These tiny things are hard to hold. That is for sure. Very, very, very light coat of glue. Don't need a lot of glue at all. Very light coat. Put it up against the stop block. Hold it for 5 seconds. That's enough. Let's go to the next red index. And let's glue a second one on. Again, very, very, very light coat of glue. Don't take much glue at all when they fit together nice. And if they don't fit together nice, they will fall off. If they fit together nice, they won't fall off. That's why everything got to be flat. Okay. These little things are hard to work with, but that should do it. We'll go ahead and put on 18 more. "20 little yellow heart segments are on. Now, I'm going to let it set for 15 minutes before I either turn it or sand it or anything. I know. The container said let it set for 24 hours. 15 minutes and I'm going to sand it. That's all it takes. They ain't coming off. No way. Never had a problem. But, again, everything's got to be flat. The material's got to have a flat side to glue on. And it's got to be flat, and the ring's got to be flat, and every ring's got to be flat. So, 15 minutes from now, I'll chalk it and sand it flat. In the meantime, that'd be just enough time to cut the first row of Purple Heart. The first row of Purple Heart, I measured it here on this little chart I got, a little drawing. Ain't much of a drawing, but it's enough. Just draw it out roughly. Going to make it 6 3/4 inches diameter. So 6 3/4 inches diameter, 20 segments per ring. They got to be cut to a length of 0.748. 748. 0.748. .748. Set up my stop block and cut 20 Purple Heart segments. In about 15 minutes. So now I got to chalk all these and sand them. They have got to be flat. Even though they will run through the drum sander so that they should be nice and flat on both sides and the same thickness all the way, there is some slight variations always. There always is. Never fails. And it's important that they be flat before I try and glue on the next ring. Got my old favorite sanding board. This thing is old. It is old. Okay, oh, the chalk is off. I'm ready to put on the next ring, which is a Purple Heart. The yellow ones was put on with the orange index, so naturally a Purple Heart's going on with a black index. Got it set up, got my stop block set out. A light coat of glue, very light coat of glue. That's way too much. Get rid of some of it, yeah. Don't worry, it dries clear anyway. Okay, like 5 seconds. Let's go ahead and do another one on. Hard to believe they stay on in 5 seconds, but they do. However, if you get one that ain't really flat, it'll fall off. Light layer. Slide it in here. I'm going to go ahead and glue on 18 more Purple Heart. I've got the first row of Yellow Heart, this first row of Purple Heart on there. Now I've got to put the second row of Yellow Heart. And I'm going to put it 7-inch diameter. Looking at my drawing. Of course, I've done these enough. So 20 segments, 7-inch diameter open segment, have to be cut to a length of .7760. So, I'm going to set this up for 776. Get some Yellow Heart and cut me 20 pieces ready to glue on. After I get these glued on, after they dry for 15 minutes, I'm going to start turning the inside. Now, of course, you don't have to start turning the inside. I like to just because it's so easy to get to right now. But in the meantime, let's cut 20 segments. 20 very small, very, very small Yellow Heart segments. Got my gluing platform set up for 7-inch diameter, using the red marked indexes again. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue these on same as before, just a different diameter, that's all. The second Yellow Heart ring's on, 7-inch. Now, got to put the second Purple Heart ring on. I'm going to put it on at 7.5 inch. Then there'll be another little Yellow Heart ring, and then the third Purple Heart ring's also going to be the same diameter because it's starting back in. So instead of cutting 20 segments, I'm going to cut 40 segments and use 20, and then put the Yellow Heart on, use the second 20. So 7.5 inch. 7.5 inch. .8315. So I'm going to set this up. I'm going to cut 40 segments and use 20. Well, right at 15 minutes after I glued the last Yellow Heart segment on, I went ahead and started turning the inside. Much easier this way. Of course, most everybody learned to turn the outside first, but it's okay, whatever, however you want to do it. So I sanded it flat. And now I'm ready to put on the second row of Purple Heart. Go ahead and just glue it on the same way the first row is, except it's going on at 7.5 inch diameter. Wow, it's cold in here this morning. It took a while to get it heated up. Still ain't really hot enough. I had to take my wife to Greenville to the eye doctor. She's getting a eye cleaned with laser. Can't drive, so I had to drive her, of course. Anyway, I would anyway. But so the second row of Purple Hearts on. Now I got to put yellow heart on. It's actually the widest spot in the turning. It's actually, yeah. I got to clean up in here one day. It's actually right at the widest spot in the turning. And the last purple heart was 7.5. Yellow heart being real thin, I'm going to make it 7 3/4 inch. Be good enough. And then we'll start back down again. I got the next string of purple heart cut, which is going to be 7.5 inches again. But after I put the yellow heart on, it dries for 15 minutes. I'm going to continue turning the inside a little bit. I mean, why not? It's easy to get to right now. Why reach in further when I don't have to? But again, that's just an option. So, yeah, I'm going to cut it and put it on. Same as I've been doing, no different. The third row of purple heart segments is on. Got to add another row of yellow heart. It's coming back down again. So, coming on back down, I'm going to make the yellow heart ring 7 inch. The purple heart was 7.5 inch. So I'm going to make the yellow heart 7 inch. So I'm going to cut up 20 yellow heart pieces and glue them on just like before. The last purple heart open segment ring is on. So I need one more thin yellow heart ring, and then I need to put the solid ring on the top. I'm going to make the yellow heart ring 6.5 inch in diameter. It's coming down good now. This is pretty wide material, so it'll be fine at 6.5. And after I get it on, I'm going to turn a little bit more on the inside. Now I'm going to build a solid ring, a 20 segment ring for it. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this 6.5 inch. Have to be cut at 0.720. So I'm going to set it up and go ahead and cut 20 segments and put them on. I've been taking still shots. I've been putting them in. The last row of open segments, yellow heart, thin yellow heart ring on. Now I got to put a solid ring on top. And then of course going to be 20 segments. Got to match. I'm going to make it 6 inches. The yellow heart's 6.5. I'll make it 6 inches. Be okay. But solid ring is going to be cut at an angle of 20 degrees. And 6 inches going to be cut at 0.950. 0.950. Got this set up. Now, the way my sled's built, got a pivot point on one end. I use a bolt with a hole and a T-nut on the bottom for pivot point. And way on the end, about that far, is where I got the marks for the angle. So it's very, very easy to get very accurate angle. So I've got it marked. So I'm going to set the fence up. I'm going to set up the cut distance, and I'm going to cut 20 purple heart segments. I said 20 degree, no, there's 20 segment. Cut angle is actually 9 degrees for 20 segments, so yeah, I got it set up for 9 degrees, not 20 degrees. 20 purple heart segments cut. Got them lightly sounded on the sides. Check them for tightness. This one here is tight. I use push block on my disc sander to sand them. Got blue tape on it to adjust it. It's a shim. Got quite a few pieces on here. After using it a few times, I shim it till I get it just exactly right. So after I sand them, these come out tight. So being as how they're tight, I'm going to go ahead and glue them up. You notice I'm using the rope clamp, nylon cord actually. I heard there's still people that use band clamps. I don't believe it, but I heard that. Anyway, gonna go ahead and clamp this up. Let it sit for 15 minutes. Then I'll flatten one side and I'll glue it on and let it sit for at least 15 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and finish turning the inside. I just took it out of the clamps. It's been 15 minutes. Yeah, the squeeze out's still kind of wet yet, and it's starting to get a little hard. I don't care. I'm going to go ahead and flatten one side. I think I'm going to use the drum sander for this one. I could put it in the cold jaws and flatten it on the lathe, but I think I'll just go ahead and use the drum sander. Only going to flatten one side. That's all I need to glue it on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I got one side flattened. Got it mounted in cold jaws. Got the cold jaws on the live adapter for the tailstock. Now I'll put a light layer of glue on it. Of course, I always put too much. I don't know. Spread it out a little bit. Get it spread out good. Yeah. Make sure it's got a light layer everywhere. Clean the glue spreader. Put it in the tailstock. Bring it up. Make sure the joints on that ring are right over the middle of the open segment, and clamp it down. Looks good. I don't know if I'm getting squeeze out on every one or not. Looks good. Let her dry for a while. All the segments are on. The top solid ring is on. Now all I have to do is finish turning it, sanding it, and put some finish on it. And then of course I got to do the bottom. Now, I like to turn the inside as I come out. I like to sand it too. There's two reasons for that. One is it's easy to get to, and two, it's less dangerous to sand. If you put your hand way in there to sand it, dangerous. Open segments like to grab the sandpaper. I didn't say it wasn't dangerous now, don't get me wrong. It's not quite as dangerous. So you can do it any way you want. That, it's strictly up to you how you like to do it, what tools you use, and how you do it. I'm not going to show how I finish turning the inside or sanding it. That's completely up to you how you do that. This is strictly on building it in this video. But I am going to finish turning the inside, sanding it. I'm going to take some still pictures as I go. And then I'll turn the outside, I'll put finish on it. I think I'll probably spray finish this one. It's easy. Spin it and just spray it. Let it dry. Thing is, it gets all in the air. Got to open all the doors and windows and the fans and everything else and get the heck out of here. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it right now. It's turned now. Inside and outside. I got a still picture of it. Now to sand it. And of course, sanding is the quick and easy process. Much easier than a turning, much quicker than a turning. I know, a lot of people don't believe that. If you don't believe it, watch my sanding video. It is really a very simple process. You get a super finish if it's done correctly. And there's a lot of people that do not know how to sand correctly, I guarantee you. One of the things I found out in the club. And people are stubborn. They refuse to sand correctly. Well, I know how to sand. I've been sanding for 20 years. And in reality, they don't. So, I'm going to sand it. It'll just take a couple of minutes. Sand it all the way up through all the Scotch-Brite pads. Get a good glossy finish. Purple Heart is nice hard wood, and so is Yellow Heart, and it should shine up pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and sand it. Just go through all the grits, a couple of swipes with each grit. That's it. Just a couple of swipes with each grit. There's no tool marks I don't have to take out. If there's tool marks I got to take out, yeah, I'll use the 80 grit and take out any tool marks or imperfections that I want. Other than that, it's just a couple of swipes with each grit all the way up through the Scotch-Brites. It just takes a few minutes. It's shiny now. No finish on it yet. Sanding it took about 5 minutes. Didn't take long at all. Going through each grit, just real quick. Then all the Scotch-Brite pads. There's like a piece of glass. I'll get a couple of pictures of it. Now, to finish it, I'm debating whether I want to put shellac on it or whether I want to spray it. If I spray it, it's going to stink. I think I'll spray it. Yeah, I think I will. So, get a picture of that. Now I'm going to spray it. After I spray it, I have to turn it around and finish the bottom. Now it only takes just a couple of minutes because I'm using a mortise instead of a tenon. Just smooth it out a little bit and leave a ring around the edge for it to sit on. So I'm going to go ahead and spray it right here on the lathe. Turn the lathe on, maybe 100 RPM. And spray it. That way it can't run. Inside turn, outside turn, sanded, sprayed a little bit for the finish. Not too bad. I got to turn the bottom. Very easy. I use the cold jaws and catch it from the inside with the tapered pins. Bring the center up on the tailstock. Just smooth this out here a little bit. Leave a ring right around the edge for it to sit on. Sand it a little bit. Just take a couple of minutes to do that. I think first I'm going to put a little glue tape around here before I'm going to hold it on the inside so I don't mar the finish. And I got to move the pins on the cold jaws. Well, there you have it. 20 segments per ring. 5 thin yellow heart rings. 4 purple heart rings, open segments. Solid ring top, solid bottom on this one. Very easy to do, quick. In my case, I had to stop in the middle and repair the bathtub. Now that's a pain, but don't take long. Got it signed. So, hope you enjoyed my little video. This is my signature piece, like I said. It's made to pay back a favor. I hope he likes it, or his wife likes it anyway. If you have any question, if you want a copy of my cheat sheet, my cheat sheets are for closed segments and for 70% open segments. Now that you can use there is other open segments, 75%, 80%, whatever. But I think, and I'm not sure, but I think most everybody uses 70%. So yeah, I got cheat sheets for these. If you want a copy, subscribe and then send me an email. Leave my email up here somewhere. And in my next video, I think I'll make one of my favorite turnings, which is using my open segment, using many woods, say, whatever I can find around the shop, more than 20, up to maybe 40 if I can find them. I got all kinds of different woods, and when you do that, it don't take a lot of any one. It just takes a whole lot. You got, of course, have them all the same thickness to cut open segments. So, please come back and see my next video, and thank you.